out with some pencil and paper to do. But that was, I think that the gist is, I was doing 32 plus 8. I think if I did it in 16 plus 4 and then did that twice, that would be a little bit more doable. I mean, I think that might be more efficient. Because it'd be dividing 40 by halves. And then... What if I did... So this is multiplied by 2, 4, 6... Well, okay. Whatever. We'll do this at a different level. To optimize it, you need to use all the boxes, if I recall correctly. So that's what I think you're... I think you're right about that. I think I need to use a bigger variety of powers of 2. But for now, let's go ahead and just continue with some of the easier levels. Before I worry too much about optimizing it any further. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or 10 years? I have a note here from your other boss that say, from this point on, your performance will be evaluated with extra scrutiny. What a treat! Send all things that are not 0 to the outbox. Jump if 0. You know how I was saying earlier that we had, this was an unconditional jump? We now have a conditional jump. And basically, sheesh. At this point, we have, like, this is like a functionally complete computer. Like, these are all the instructions that you need. Well, I don't even, because you have conditions at this point. Yep. So this is everything that your computer, this is the bare minimum things that you need to have a functional computer for. Cool. Alright, jumps only if the value we're holding is 0. So, inbox. Jump if 0 to, we'll need a routine for this. So if it's 0, then we jump to our true branch. Otherwise, it falls through. So, just for the sake of just a pedagogy here. So, if it's 0, we're gonna jump to this thing, and then we're gonna execute everything from this block downward. If it's not 0, then we execute what's underneath this arrow here. We can make Pong now. Yeah, we actually could, sort of. So the way to think about this is, when it's true, everything below this block is the true block. When it's false, everything under this arrow is that's the false block. So, we're gonna jump backwards, basically. And the way we do this is we have, can we do negations? No. So if we jump if 0 to outboxing it, then we jump backwards. Otherwise, we jump backwards like this. This should do it. It's pretty weird looking. I think it'll work. Inbox, we threw that away. We outbox it, then we jump back to the start of the program. Oh! That are not 0 to the outbox. I'm sorry, I negated the purpose of the... I negated it entirely. Alright. Whoops. I thought we were only putting 0 values on the outward section. So, this is even easier this way. So, if it's 0, we jump over, putting it to the outbox, and we just restart the program. You can probably see how that, like, makes sense. I threw away the 0, but we can go ahead and see it. So C is not 0, so we go ahead and put it in there. And it's worth noting that computers at this level of thinking, they do not distinguish between digits and characters. So letters internally to your computer are represented as numbers, and it just interprets it as this number corresponds to this letter. Speed challenge. So you can do this in fewer steps. The way you would do that is actually the exact same way that I did it earlier, where I did loop unrolling. That's really fucking boring, so I'm not going to do it. But you remember how I did it the previous time, where I took out the loops entirely? The way you would do it there is, like, you would just look through. You say, you know ahead of time, I have this 0, and this 0. So you can just hard code in, except the first, well, I'm already doing it, so I might as well just do it. Inbox. We then inbox, and then inbox again. So that will throw away the 0. Then, okay, so we inbox, outbox. Then we inbox, throw away that grabs the 0. The next inbox throws away the 0, we outbox that. Inbox, outbox the 5. Inbox the next 0. Throw that value away. Throw that value away. Inbox. Outbox. This should do it. And there's one more after it, which I guess we accidentally threw on there. So this should do it. Not enough stuff in the outbox. Oh, I threw away a value that I didn't mean to. Okay, so we put in one more outbox command right here. There we go. We've unrolled the puzzle. Your solution works with the specific inputs, but fails. Oh, really? Oh. The hell? It'll actually test if you hardcode your solutions. Oh, you're right, QWERTY. Okay, yeah, that would be the. I guess the solution has now been spoiled for me. Well, the game, impressively enough, detects if you hardcode your solutions and will fail you for doing that. So apparently, if I do jump if 0. Yeah. Thanks, QWERTY. You did spoil it, but thank you all the same. But yeah, let's try to not backseat game this as much. So the idea is we do jump if 0 to the top, I guess. So if we jump if 0 what was it? What did I have before? If we pick it up from the inbox, then we jump if 0 over outboxing it and put it that way. People said that if I wanted to do it differently, was just to do it this way. Which would actually, yeah, that actually does execute it a little bit better. Alright, that does it. Yep, you're right. That's a weird way to think about it, but I guess it worked. Like, that does execute slightly less commands when you do it that way. I really wouldn't have thought of that, but I guess that'll help me later on. Okay, so that's how you do that one. 0 Preservation Initiative. Okay, so now instead of throwing away all the zeros, I guess I'm saving them. Has come to our attention. The Zero Advocacy community felt the previous assignment was not inclusive. There's them send only zeros to the outbox. Management leaves that detail up to you. Okay. So now we do basically the opposite of what I was doing earlier. So we inbox something, and then if it's 0, we jump. Okay, so if it's 0, we have to, since the only condition that we have is jumping if 0, so we have to jump to outboxing it if it's 0. Otherwise we jump backwards, and then we need to jump backwards again. This'll do it. So we pick up 8, it wasn't 0, so we threw it away, we outbox it, and now we jump back to the start of the loop, inbox it. Let's see if this did it. It's very, like, loopy-doopy all over itself, so that's kind of weird. But at least I got the size challenge, which means I probably pulled this off correctly. Nope, not quite right. So there's a different way to, I guess, structure this code, such that I don't have to do as many jumps. So if 0... Inbox, jump if 0... Good night, Surplus. Okay, so if we inbox it, so that pulls out the value. Then we check if the value is 0. If it is 0, we jump there. Otherwise, we fall through. Okay, that's what I had before, was just jumping, was 2 jump statements. If you place all the non-zeros in the boxes, it changes the ending of the game, Kappa face. Yeah, I totally believe that, QWERTY. Okay. So we pull out the value. If it's equal to 0, then we outbox it and we jump back to the start. If it's not equal to 0, we just jump back to the start. Which doesn't... We have 2 jump statements. I guess we can eliminate one of them by doing this a little bit differently. So if I... What about... So this is just the bare minimum now. I'm just testing the value that I have in my hands. If I jump, what if I just do this and then this falls through, but it still evaluates it. What the hell am I doing? I'm moving on. I'm not going to optimize this one any further. I'll think about it, but I want to just get through the game right now. I don't want to worry too much about like, optimization and spending too much time on puzzles until I come back at the very end, and then I'll try to optimize it all. Subtraction, I never learned that in school, did you? We're a good team. For each two things in the inbox, first subtract the first from the second. Wow, fucking way to write that to make sense. For each two things in the inbox, subtract the first from the second and put the result in the outbox, and then subtract the second from the first and put that result in the outbox. You have a new command, subtracts the content of a tile from whatever value you're currently holding. So we pick that up. For each two things, okay, so we copy the first into local memory, and then we're going to inbox, subtract. I'm going to run this just to see what result we get, just to make sure this makes sense. Alright, so we've subtracted, so that subtracts the first value from the second. Yeah, so it was values 4 and 5. So this should give us a value of 4. So we want first a value of 4, then we want first a value of -4 for this. Okay, so that did it one way. And then subtract the second from the first and put that result in the outbox. I feel like this is akin to variable swapping. That guy seems like the person you would find dangling from a rope in a closet. Oh, that's mean. Just because he's balding. What a terrible thing to say. Okay, so when I subtract the first from that, it sort of reminds me, there's a way of swapping values with only subtraction and addition. So what I can do, if I add them together, hang on. This is akin to doing the XOR swap. So if I do 4 plus 4, let's say 4 plus 8, that equals 12. And then 12 minus 4 is equal to 8, and then 12 minus 8 is equal to 4. That's a way to subtract things around a little bit. So first, if I add them, I would have... What would I have if I added these together first? I would put 4 down there, and I would put down 12. I'd be holding 12. And then I could derive the value of 8 and then subtract it. You know what? There's an easier way of doing this. I'm going to do it the direct way first and then think about optimization. So the easiest way I can think of is copy the first value to 0 and 1. And then we get the second value. We subtract, then outbox. So that will give us 3 and then 3. And we grab 9, and we subtract 3 from that to get 6, and we outbox it. And then we're not holding anything. So once we outbox something, we don't have anything in our hands anymore, according to this game anyway. So I need to not do it this way. So I need to copy 2 in there. See, I was assuming that the character, after they outbox something, would still hold the value in their hands, but then they don't. So that changes my strategy a little bit. Because I thought that that value would be a little bit more persistent than it is. But once it goes in the conveyor belt out, it's gone. So we copy 2, then 1. Then, what are we holding after we do that? We're holding the second value. So put down 2 and 5. And then we subtract that, so we get 3. And then we need to get 5. We need to grab 2, 5. Okay, so then we copy from the first, subtract from the second, outbox that, and loop. So we put down 1, and we put down 8, we subtract that to get -7, put that, oh, no, just 7. Wait, what? Yeah, oh, okay, that made sense. Perfect, so this worked perfectly. Balding, easily angered with no apparently outlet, slightly overweight but doesn't take good care of himself to complain, fears upper management because he doesn't want to lose his job. Damn, you're not kidding. This dude does seem like a guy who would just like... Wow. That is grim, Gaunt. Alright, so this worked perfectly. I feel like there's probably an arithmetic trick to doing this that I didn't know about. But whatever. The way Bird is doing this, excuse me, I did 10 out of 10, so I did the right size. And I optimized it, so fuck you, QWERTY. I got it right. Let's move on. Equalization room. So I guess I get another... How many levels are there to this game? Oh joy, there's a lot. Cool. I'll probably beat this game really fast, but that doesn't matter too much to me.